I think I pushed the right button. Shit. I don't even know what happened. I think we're live. Are we live?
We never know what we're
I
doing, do
know.
we?
Honestly, it's got to be easier. But hey, everyone, if you're out there and we're actually doing this live, I'm checking the YouTube feed to see if this is actually going live. It looks like it is. I'm going to open up this window. This is all the technical shit that goes on when you don't have assistance. We're going to put this on mute. It looks like it's working. I'm going to give it a thumbs up because why not? Start out on a positive note. I'm going to copy this link and go to Facebook. And in the comments section on my Facebook page, if anybody wants to go over there and get the link, even though you're here watching this, you don't need the link. But please do share, like, and subscribe and do all that good stuff. And we're going to get that out of the way right now. Anyway, all right. Hello, guys. Happy Friday, the end of the month already. I think we're into December now. I can't remember what month it is. But I hope everybody's doing well. As always, we're back for a Friday Night Live podcast. We got a lot going on. We did there's a lot of music things. Steve got a hold of the new Veilton. He's been waiting on for about a year and 12 days or something like that. And then he's got some big news with what he thinks on that. And it's actually positive stuff coming from the ToneX and coming from the, what's the other one that you're using?
Well, I was using the ToneX. I tried the Kemper.
The Kemper, right?
Yeah.
So we got some stuff to say about that. I emailed the Amalgam guy, and we were going to try and chat this week, Thursday, but I blew it on Thursday. Then I got him to Friday, and he said he's quite hectic right now because they released another pack. I think it was a Fender, a 60s Fender kind of thing, I think. Yep. So I watched a little of that. Sounds great. But he said, let's chat Tuesday. So we're going to talk Tuesday. And I really want to get a hold of the Tone King stuff that he did. Because I went through, I'll get into it. I'm selling an amp and I'm selling a bunch of stuff. But just trying to clear. I have too much stuff. Too many guitars for one person. Too many amps. And amps I don't really use, especially now that I'm sort of getting into the digital thing. But I have some Fenders, deluxe or Fender Vibroverb and Twin reissues, the 65 reissues that were amazing. And my Twin, man, I never use that. But I love it. It's got this beautiful 15-inch speaker. It's boomy. It's beautiful. Headroom galore, so it's clean. And you think with that headroom it'd take on pedals well, but it gets very high-endy and thin when it takes pedals, and even as you crank it higher, that thin. So I have the treble almost at 1. I mean, it's crazy, but the lushness of that big 15-inch speaker on playing chords and just, dude, and it sings and it has this note articulation that. I don't know why I don't play it anymore. So this guy texts me, and apparently he had bought. He's like, yeah, this is the third one I bought in the last week. I can get a runner to come pick it up if you want. And I'm like, he's like, I was gonna buy my third one from Ohio, but you're local. He's in North Hollywood, and he's like, I could just drive over. And I'm like, okay. So I plugged it in to test it, and I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna sell this. It's so good. Like it's so good. And I was A-Bing it with the Landau amp. So I think I may sell the Vibroverb with the Jose mod that I wasn't going to, but the Landau I'm definitely keeping. It's got a special thing. And this Twin sounds so different and good. Whereas the Jose, I can kind of get the Landau to do the same thing. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway.
You're not allowed to play something that you're going to sell. You just have to push it out, put it on the ledge, and sell it. And that's the end of it.
Yeah. So long story short, I was trying to get into, I was like, you know what, I'll sell this. So I think I was going to get $1,300, which is kind of top of tier what they're selling for right now. They're selling between $1,200, $1,300 at most. Mine's brand new, and honestly, and that's the thing with the Jose too. It's got a little bit of a dirty tone knob or volume, so you hear a little. Even when you're not touching it, it's a little crackly, so I got to get that clean and fixed. Whereas this Twin is dead silent, turned all the way up. You don't. It's amazing. But the Tone King, the Imperial, a buddy of mine has, and it's an amazing amp. And they came out with the pedal version. And so, long story was the Amalgam guys, they did their versions of captures of the Tone King stuff. And it sounds great, the Imperial. So I'm going to try and grab that from them and do some testing with it. And we'll see what happens. But that's enough of me talking, dude. What's going on in your world? And how you doing?
What a week, dude. It's getting darker later, so that makes me happy. Well, let's see what's going on in my world. It's another Friday. I got jury duty next week, so that sucks. Like, subscribe, do all that, smash the like button, smash the freaking button, do all that stuff, because Dave is here for your entertainment needs. He's going to be transcribing some cool stuff this week, but listen, it's another great week. We're here, another Friday with all our friends. Also, if you can, everybody, when Dave plays and he forgets to hit the button and my echo is on the voice, let us all know. And if you're in the chats,
echo.
And so what do you want to start with today?
So so basically this week we'll talk about some of the ToneX and the Veilton thing. Also, the Mancuso did another Rick Beato video. He was sat in with him, and I've got on my transcribe thing. I haven't played a lot this week. I've been so busy with this other gig that I'm doing, which is great, but it's what's keeping me from having to sell my amps and stuff. So maybe I should quit that and just sell my amps. And but I haven't really transcribed a lot. So right before this video, I transcribed a really quick. I was watching that Mancuso thing, and man, there's just I bookmarked 5 things that we'll quickly go through and we'll just play. There are things I want to transcribe. One of them is just this arpeggio lick that he does that's so great. I mean, he just his phrasing is brilliant, and this is one of those. I go back and forth. There are sometimes I watch him and I'm like, oh man, I love this guy and everything. And then there's sometimes I'm like, I'm just kind of bored. I mean, it's good, whatever. This is one of those videos. Everything he does a Stella by Starlight kind of thing. He does one of his tunes that's kind of clean, gets into a heavier gain thing, and all of it. This is the first time, and I was like, man, I like his compositions. Like his original tunes that he's playing. If you can tell me if this is, I think it's one of his original tunes. Okay. Fabulous, dude. So good.
Interesting. Yeah, it's weird because you've been like me, but where I've been consistently just kind of I've been very ambiguous. I just have, like no interest or, moderate interest where I'm like, I don't really care. But yeah, no, you seem to have kind of come around on a full 180 on him.
Yeah. Yep. Him and Eric Gales too. I mean, we talked about him a week or two ago. Yeah. And man, everything I've been seeing of him, I'm loving who he is as a person, where he comes from, his and just his overall way he takes you through a piece of music. Like he actually literally, beginning, middle, and end kind of stuff. I mean, it's storytelling at its best, I think. But anyway, everybody, hey, like, subscribe. Thank you for being here. Share with your friends. Let's get this community going. Let us know any questions you have. If there's any audio issues, let us know so we can stop those as soon as my mind comes back to. And let us know anything going on in your world. If you have something that you saw on YouTube that maybe we missed. I know Paul Gilbert released his stuff, his new album. What'd you see?
Yeah. Well, I saw your buddy Shane Terrio did a video last, I think it was Monday, and he did 2 really cool funk rhythm things. And one of them was Michael Jackson's Rock With You. And
really?
Man, yo, dude, it went. This whole week I have done nothing but play guitar. Like, I mean, not that I don't play guitar all the time, but insane amount of guitar. And I don't want to say all day today because I've been working, but a lot of the time in between work has been really working on my rhythm chops. And the video, I unfortunately don't have it queued up right now, but it is like the video that he did this week. And he's just such a great teacher. You know, I mean, I know he's your dude, but yeah, he just kind of explains things in a very simple, palatable way. And you know, the way that he plays the stuff, it's just easy to figure it out, and then you just kind of incorporate it. But yeah, it's a really great lesson. I didn't even get to the second part of it. I just went with the first Michael Jackson thing, and I guess the backstory was he got hired by some guy, and they put an all-star band together just for a couple of like tunes or something, and that was one of the tracks that he had to learn. And I forgot. You know, it's funny. Like, I've gone down the Michael Jackson rabbit hole because obviously, you know, you have like well-known Lukather and Eddie Van Halen, but then you have all the other, you know, all the other guys, and some of those session dudes that played on those Michael Jackson records are like just ridiculous.
Paul Jackson
so,
Jr.
Yep. And he played Paul Jackson Jr. also. You know, he played on he's not a Jackson, but he played on a Jackson 5, on a bunch of the Jackson 5 like stuff from the 80s. Actually, one of my favorite Jackson 5 songs, This Is Heartbeat or Heartbreak. That's a great like single line funk rhythm. And man, you know, like that whole right hand thing for rhythm has always been the thing that I suck the most at. And yeah, and basically, as I gone down that, you know, kind of more rhythmic kind of playing, you know, I'm very much concentrating on the left hand, but then like, this is the motor, man. This is the motor. Oh, Ryan is in the comment. Ryan goes, yeah, I won't do that later. If you don't like Michael Jackson, you don't like music. That's what Ryan says. Yeah, it's you know, you put aside obviously the negatives of Michael Jackson, but just Thriller, Off the Wall, and I forgot the record's name after that. Is it Bad? Those three I have on vinyl. They're all awesome records. There's so much great guitar playing. And if you suck at rhythm, that's probably a great place to start. I also think Earth, Wind, and Fire is another great place to start for rhythm.
Yeah. Man, I say all the time, too, the two things. One, songwriting nowadays is that's the thing with the generation in the last decade, the last two generations, but the last one. Same thing with movies, music. They don't, I mean, we had so many people doing amazing stuff. People making these films that are legendary. Actors that were legendary. Not just one-offs, not just guys that you kind of follow and like or whatever, but you have the Marlon Brandos, you have the De Niros, the Pacinos, you know, all the Italian guys or whatever. But you have just every single one, the Dustin Hoffmans, so many actors of that age that are all in their 70s and 80s now. The guys coming up, there are some really good actors, but there's none that are going down, I don't think, maybe a handful that go down in history as legendary actors that are known, like the James Deans and all those guys. I mean, that different generation, of course. And it was all just getting in public eye, and it was such a special thing to go to movies. Well, same thing with music. The songwriting alone, not just the way these players are and everything, but Sinatra's and all that stuff back in the day, to the Jimi Hendrix, to the Van Halen's, the Led Zeppelins, the Stones, even the things that I don't really listen to that much, but there, all these things you hear in every movie. You hear still to the end with and again, Michael Jackson, the songwriting, the arrangements, the way they modulated. How many tunes nowadays modulate? How many tunes actually have different sections? It's not just a 1 and a 2, and then they just keep repeating it. How many? So it's amazing to go back there, and then to shorten this story, but same thing with gear and stuff. It's amazing how quickly everything's turning over. And I think that's part of the movie thing, that why we don't have that same kind of nostalgia about things in the last decade, because we have the Netflix, we have 30 different streaming things, and we're just watching things one off. We're never going back to watch classic movies. well, this generation of, we go back to the old ones, but same thing with the gear. Things turn over. We have to get a new pedal every week. We get a new thing.
Yeah.
I mean, the classic amps that were 15 years ago that came out,
Mm-hmm.
we were so excited. It was the same kind of hype, but a new thing didn't come out for another 6 months or something. So
Right,
we got to
right.
spend time with that. And then 2 years later, people were coveting that stuff. Now you can talk about a pedal, a Wampler pedal or something that was so amazing. I have the D&M drive by those Dan and Mick or whatever.
Yeah.
That pedal, I remember when that came out, and that's one of Shane Terrio's. He uses that all the time, and there's a few other guys that love it. It's such a good
Yeah.
pedal, but I don't think anybody's talked about that pedal in the last couple of years. I mean, the
Well, I think-
revival drive, those things were amazing because you can use those revival drives to tweak any Marshall or Fender to sound like the opposite. And it really, really works. You can get a Marshall to sound like a great Fender. And it's like no other pedal does that. And it doesn't, it just has so much control. And that was like the holy grail of one of those pedals. And nobody talks about them anymore. Everybody's talking about the modelers now. And so I just think the pace of everything, we don't get those classic, long-lasting things.
Well, I think it's that term fast fashion, where like stuff comes and it's very much just for the moment and move it out, and obviously it's very much a consumer world where like we have, you can put something out on Netflix and then the next big thing, and we don't have the premieres of movies like we did, and it's not us like saying like old guy yelling at the clouds because it's better 20 years ago, but there is something to be said about the way, the pace that we had, and obviously because of that you focused on it more and stuff kind of stuck to the wall a little bit more, whereas now you could put a record together in a very short amount of time. It could sound, sonically great, but you're right. There's no modulation. There's no real, everything does sound very much the same. Like you listen to the beat, you listen to the song. I just don't understand how some of these songs have 15, 13, 14 songwriters. And
that's
it's just
crazy.
It's insane. But again, you just look at where, I don't want to say it's a dumbing down of the world, but it's a dumbing down of the world. Like when I sit there and you look at movies coming out and I'm like, really? We're doing Charlie's Angels again, a third time? Like, have we completely just run out of ideas? Like, and so, not to go off on this whole, pop culture kind of phenomenon, but movies and music always kind of dictate where like society has kind of been, you know what I mean? Like when you have, just to think about this at one point in the same time frame, within like a few years of each other, you had like movies that came out like Soylent Green, Rosemary's Baby, Planet of the Apes. You had the Beatles, Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, and it's funny how that's just kind of like degenerated down in. So again, I mean, it sounds like we're just like the old times were better, but I don't know, man. You guys that are watching, I mean, what was the last great record in the last 10 years? I'll even give you 10 years. What was the last great record that you've purchased or heard or said, like,
and not just great record that you like, but great record that you can see people talking about years from. Again, here we are talking about Michael Jackson and these albums that came out in the 80s, right? I mean, that's what, 30 years ago, 80s, 92, 35 years ago. And they're going to go on for another 70 years because they're just the Beatles. I mean, how many, it's just, they put together structure of song and it was about the music. And then a lot of these songs had these iconic solos, the Van Halen Thriller thing, Beat It solo. But there's, I mean, every single one of, The James Taylor tunes, I'm not huge into that, but man, when Landau or any of those guys play solos on them, I go, man, not only is the solo amazing, but that song is so good. It's so easy to listen to and remember. And you got the
Yep.
Eagles, you have all these. I mean, how many iconic solos from the Eagles and those guys? You know, I mean, there's just it's not even about is something good, because there are some good things that come out. I like Pink. I like some of Lady Gaga stuff. I like some, you know.
Yeah, but Dave, that's 20. That's going back 20 years now. That's not even new anymore.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. Yep.
You know, we're not talking anything in the last. You know, like I was even thinking like I go like iconic that'll break the barrier. Like I was thinking maybe Bruno Mars in the last 10 or so years. Something that's relatively new. I mean. But everything is just kind of like a watered down taped version of whatever came before it. And it just seems, you know, like it hasn't really come across where I'm hearing anything. And I'm asking people because I love music. It's not like I'm complaining about it. I love music. I want to hear something. You know, I got to when you know the company that I work for was a thing, you know, and everybody was doing downloads, I would go and listen to a track or two off of, you know, some of these and go like, oh, cool. Like I got turned on to a lot of artists that way. So, you know, I am open to it, but I just haven't heard anything that's going to transcend. And the same really kind of goes with movies. I mean, you know, like just look at like even the Star Wars franchise, like the last, you know, the first 6 that were pretty good, you know, pretty iconic. Even I'll even give like the last, you know, the prequel that ended in 2000 and whatever 4, whatever the last, you know, that one. Everything after that, when Disney bought it, it just went to crap. And you know,
well, Pixar's going that same way too. I mean, Disney has its own set of problems, but and so even Ryan's asking, what do we think about the '90s, Michael Jackson, The Dangerous, and all that kind of stuff?
I love Remember the Time, like that whole.
Oh, for sure.
You know, it's funny because to me, he influenced so many people, and yeah, like there's guys out there that I love, you know, like Neo, Akon, like all those kind of guys, even Bruno. You know, is that it's just you know, it's derivative, and I think the one thing too that's a byproduct of where everything is society wise, it kind of comes up in the whole world of music and movies is it's not fun. Music isn't fun. I mean, like you get like the dance, like I get, you know, like everyone was all up in arms about Bad Bunny. And, you know, honestly, it's not my generation. It's not my music. I don't speak Spanish. I don't care, but it's fun. And so that's, you know, I don't relate to that, but I understand that. And so there's very much a lack of fun. There's a lack of fun movies. There's a lack of, you know, the whole thing with music being, it just kind of almost follows where society is.
That's why I keep
now.
diving back into like the what's Rush Paris? What's the band he does? The
Oh, Steel Panther.
Steel Panther. That's why I'll watch him. Anything he comes up with. Paul Gilbert, I'll watch it, and just because it's fun, it's entertaining, and they're just having a good time. Same thing with Guthrie Govan. You know, he's always just having a good time, being musical, but having fun. But when it comes down to the deeper topics of compositionally, again, a lot of these tunes get a little stale. They're fun to listen to what somebody does as far as soloing and improvising and stuff because we're guitar players and that's what we're looking for. But as far as just something that, man, I just want to turn it off and listen to, and there's a cool solo, great, but the song is actually a great song. Those modulations are so important. I mean, you know, yeah. So anyway, listen, we got a lot to talk about. The Ryan, what do you think about those 98 albums and stuff you're talking about? Are they some of your favorites? Do you like them more than the earlier ones? Do you get into them because of the guitar playing, or is it because of the song as a whole? And actually, be interested to see what generation you're in. what age range you're in.
Ryan's 20. I think Ryan's in his mid-20s.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And he's harking back to this Michael. That's impressive that he's, because I don't know a lot of younger people that give Michael Jackson that much of a listen. They've got their own thing going on.
Sorry, he's 29.
Okay. Yeah. Wow, that's impressive that you're into that. So are you into that stuff for the songwriting, for the vibe of it, for the musicianship? Do you look at it from the angle of a guitar player and trying to pick stuff out, the rhythm stuff? It's interesting. So let's go on to real quick one other thing that I was going to talk about before. I know we're going to talk about the Mancuso and the ToneX and all that. But there was a shootout, and there was something really impressive that this guy said. It was that the Andertons people, they did a video, and it was, can you tell the difference between the digital or the analog kind of thing? So they had a Victory amp, which that's another amp I was looking into, the Victory 140 or whatever. That thing sounds great. Do I need a 100-watt amp? No, but man, it sounds good. So I'm looking between that and the Two Rock studio amp. A little, they're starting to get in the price range that I don't really need to get into. So I think I'm going to stick with the Tone King and Imperial, but there's another Tone King that looks really impressive that has a little more headroom. But anyway, so he was using the Victory amp and going into the aux box, and then they had like 4 other pedals, and one was the Imperial, the Tone King Imperial, which is tube based, so it's digital, it's analog, but it has a digital converter in it, I think. Then it had the TC Electronics was one of them. There was a Dumble later or something, and then there was the Quad Cortex. And so he blindfolded the one guy. I forget their names. I'm so bad. But he blindfolded, and he was playing. And he's going through this whole thing, and he's like, man, that sounds great. This feels great. In fact, the first one was the TC Electronic one. And he just said, man, this feels great. But once you put a drive pedal into it, he said, oh, man, okay, that's digital. Like, I can hear
it falls right apart.
Yep. And so he's going through the whole thing. But then funny, he gets to the actual Victory amp, and he goes, yeah, I don't know. There's something on the bass that's happening. And he kind of said, basically thinking it might be digital. But then he came back around at the end, and he was like, no, this is the amp. And it wasn't even, is this the amp or is this digital? It's like the big thing was, how does it feel? And that's what we're all taught. Like everything, my one producer guy had sent me the Soldano when they released the Soldano 100 Slow 100. It wasn't, it was a plug-in, but I don't think it went to any of this ToneX stuff. It was before that stuff got popular. And he said, man, he's using it for his studio. He's a musical director and stuff, and records and arranges. And he was using that, and he's like, man, I know you got the real amp down here, the Soldano. He's like, I want you to try this out and tell me if you hear the difference. And immediately I said, I can't hear the sound's great. Sounds amazing. But after 4 minutes of playing on it, I was like, I don't want to play it. It did not feel right. There was a responsiveness that wasn't coming through. Even though the latency, it wasn't horrible, it was there. And then the touch, and there's a thing with the decay of the notes. It's almost like if you put a noise gate on the ToneX, where the noise gate's awful, but you hear it immediately where the note starts going and falling off in like weird stutter step kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's part of the feel thing. But my point of this is, one thing that they said on this thing that was so enlightening, and we don't verbalize, but I think we all know, is we're looking for a sound and we're looking for a feel. A lot of time the sound's there, but the feel's not there. But what's his name said on this video, he's like, you know what? I don't even know if it's a feel thing. It may just be that the sound's so good on this and it makes me want to play more. Therefore, the feel is great. So it's not really a separation 100% of sound and feel. It's more that even if the feel is not perfect, if the sound is absolutely amazing and it doesn't have too many of the artifacting, then your sense of feel is going to go up.
It's all psychological, and I mean, to kind of bring that into the conversation, if you want to talk about the Veilton.
Yep.
If you want to go into that,
Yeah, let's go right to that.
I have been playing this thing like I haven't played a pedal in even the ToneX. I've been playing it way more than the ToneX. I am like in love with the Veilton GP-50. It is by far the best $100 that I've ever spent on a pedal. It does everything that, now watch, it'll probably die next week because it's, $100 pedal. But what it does really has so many options. It's not overly complicated, so you don't have option paralysis like you do with the ToneX. It's very simple. I was running, it has Bluetooth on it, so when I do my backing tracks, I could send them right into the Katana, so I have unity volume. I'm not sitting there with my external JBL speaker trying to get some volume. Has that. That's awesome. That's one of my favorite things. It's got a looper on it. But the whole snap tone thing, I've been reading the purists are, the purists are always the cork sniffers. It's funny to see now that you have digital cork sniffers as opposed to right. You had the amp guys that were the cork sniffers. Now you have like the cork sniffers that are like, that's not really, neural or NAM profiling because it's watered down. And I'm like, fuck you, man. This thing sounds awesome. So the first thing I did when I got it was I went right to the Tone 3000 page, which is where all those free open source NAM profiles live. I went right to our friends at Amalgam's page and downloaded every single one. I think they have like maybe 9 or 10 profiles on there. And the first thing I put on there was a Sir Bella. And literally took me about 10 minutes to find the right sound. And I didn't leave that sound. I didn't try anything else until Tuesday. I went from after our little podcast last Friday night, we talked after we were talking about the Paul Gilbert video. We were on the phone for a little bit after that. Like 10:30 at night, my wife, comes out. She's like, "What are you doing? Like, you're up?" And I'm like, I can't stop this. Like, this thing is great. All day Saturday, we got another 2 feet of snow on Sunday, and then I'm doing that on Monday. And then finally Tuesday, I was like, let me try something else. But literally, this thing has been just a lot of fun to play with, easy to dial in. Again, I am, not so sure how many updates you're going to get out of this because these guys are very much in the fast fashion, use that term again. Right. They'll just keep putting in new pedals and blowing them out. Like, NewX does that too, where they're not necessarily as good about, doing updates. Whereas like Line 6 does, you buy a Line 6 Helix from 2015, they're still doing updates on them in 2026. Same thing, that's also when you're paying a lot more for them. So that is the one thing that I'm a little bit concerned about. But for the fact of I spent $100 on this and I'm able to kind of get into this world, I love this pedal. I think it's the best $100 I've spent on anything.
So what I'm really interested in, two things I'm interested in. One, Ryan mentioned to the 90s Michael Jackson through more R&B examples. You're Not Alone and Stranger. I don't know Stranger in Moscow.
Yeah, I don't know that one either. I have to check it out after.
Huh. So the two things I'm interested in are, one, the difference in feel and mainly the feel and dynamic range you get out of that. But and also, so even though you're using the pedal, it's just because it's the NAM profiles. So if you were using a NAM profiler and not the pedal's not really doing anything, almost like the ToneX. You don't really need a ToneX pedal to get all the same sounds. So I'm wondering that, the pedal may be great because it's offering the things, in a more simplified way, but realistically it's just, if you were just comparing the dynamic range that you're getting out of the NAM stuff as opposed to like the ToneX captures, is it that big?
It's hard to really say. I mean, because again, I'm not scientific. I'm just going on like the basic common denominator of like, does it sound good and does it inspire me?
Right.
Um, the one thing I will,
Did you go back to the ToneX after this and then mess around with like because you were using the Bella on that too,
yeah,
right? So did you go back to that, and were you
I
missing
did.
something immediately?
Well, the thing that's strange, I guess, or the thing that's beautiful about all of these profiles is that, and I don't know if the one that Amalgam did on Tone 3000 are the same ones that, or I don't know which one is the same. So there's that. I don't know. I can't apples to apples because I'm not sure which one it is. So while I have the one here on the Veilton, I know that I've downloaded because we have the. I just don't know which one it is. So it does sound a little bit different. It sounds a little. I don't know what the right word to use is. I just feel I don't want to use the word dynamic. That's not the right word.
But it seems not like you're saying that it's not like when I play through this ToneX thing, it's awesome. I'm having so much fun, and I get to jump between amp, and it's just it's fun. It's enjoyable.
It's fun. Yes.
And it gets a great enough tone and great enough feel to keep me wanting to play. But the problem is when if I'm doing a Soldano style profile, the minute I plug into my real amp, I go, what am I doing messing with all this stuff? Like, there is that. But then I go back to the ToneX and I settle in, and it sounds really good, and it's really dynamic again. So I get lost in the ease of it or whatever. But there is the separation. When I go back to that, I go, man, there's a huge difference. So what you're saying doesn't seem like there's a huge difference. Like if you went to the ToneX and forgot about this pedal.
It's weird, dude. Like I was going on some of the forums, and again, all the more cork snifferish kind of players were saying that the Veilton has latency issues. I wasn't getting any latency issues. I didn't see it. I haven't felt it. I think the ToneX actually probably is worse latency wise, just and it's hard for me to kind of even clown on the ToneX because me, man, I love that freaking thing. It's weird, again, am I the right guy to ask about this stuff? Because I am not, the way that I play is probably going to be so much different than these guys that are doing it for recording, because I just want to get a good tone, be inspired, and play like for 6 hours and not think about it. So that's also the way that I tend to look at, navigating the profiling stuff. Is just like, if I get a good tone, I just want to live on that tone until I go like, I want to try something else. And then I get bored of it and I kind of come back to it a day or two later. Whereas like, the way that I would imagine, and I don't know how anybody else is doing it, but I would imagine that like, they want the most, like less latency, the cleanest sound. So for me, I don't care as much about that as long as it inspires me to play. So that's kind of where I'm
I don't think
from.
It's a big thing with again, we're really dissecting this at the moment. I'm just trying to feel out what, if there's that big of a difference because you seem to be blown away a little bit when you first started playing it, and which is great, but it's the same thing with going back to this Fender twin amp. The reason why I really think I'm not going to sell it is because I sat there and played it as I was A-Bing through the Michael Landau version of the Fender I have, the Vibreverb. I even pulled out my Engel amp because that has a really decent, clean tone. And I was just trying to see the clean tone. And there's such a warmth with that Fender amp. And after I was going A-Bing, I'd play with one for 5 minutes, another I'd keep plugging in and out, going back. In fact, I moved the amp around because some of them are open back, so the reflection of the sound, I wanted to make sure it wasn't because it was too close to a wall or something. I was getting some of that. So I was doing all this. But then I ended up just playing till 4:30 in the morning for about 3 hours on that Fender, the Twin. And I
Right.
came up with this chord progression I never would have come up with just because the notes were allowed to ring out. And I still didn't analyze why this chord progression is working because it's got chromatic bass notes in it. And I was like, but it's so beautiful. And I had
Yeah.
this little riff like drop in the bucket for David Lee Roth with Jason Becker, but it was a different way of doing it. And it had some, and I was like, and to be creatively inspired for no
Yep.
reason other than the tones bringing out certain notes. And you're just like, how do you sell something like that, right? So the same thing with this. The pedal, I mean, these are low financial entry points for the most part for most people, right? Yeah, I mean, that pedal's $100. The ToneX you can get in for, it used to be, I thought it was like 150. I saw it's on sale for 179 and it's normally 249. I didn't realize it was 250. Why the hell wouldn't you spend a little more, $100 more, and get the Big Daddy with the three
Yeah.
things, and the more buttons and the easier whatever. But low entry point, and it sounds amazing.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's a hard not to beat that combo.
Right. I think the big thing, you have with being a guitar player these days, and Ryan has had a few comments, so we'll address those in a moment. But I think the thing is, for me, you can have option paralysis. You can have way too much option paralysis. But for me, like, I will play something, go back to something else. Like, so I do realize that, I have like a Pod Go, which I hardly play, but I'll plug that in and I'll be like, oh my God, I love this one sound, and I'll play that for a while. So I buy gear to use the gear. And I think that's the dangerous, slippery slope where, like, guys will, especially nowadays, buy stuff and never use it, or they just collect it
Totally.
to collect it. So
Oh,
I
dude.
buy something and it's like, I'm going to freaking use it. But now it's, because of the fact that we've gone down this, where I live, I just can't really play an amp. So this works. When I move out of New Jersey and I buy an actual house, not a condo or a townhouse that I currently have, then I will probably be able to take out all my amps
Yeah.
and buy new amps. But until then, I am loving the issues with all the gear that we have. Now, I just want to kind of go back to Ryan's comments. And Ryan, and thank you so much for participating. And anybody else, if you're out there, feel free to join the conversation. Right now we're talking about the Veilton GP-50 and ToneX and the profiling. And if you guys use Quad Cortex, let us know what you're using. But Ryan just mentions he's a minimalist, cannot keep a collection of amps and guitars. Also, as a guitar player, can't make up his mind. When he first got his Axe FX 3, the options were overwhelming. Yeah, that's what Axe FX is, a hard one with a lot of option paralysis, as we kind of have been talking about. He has a preset called Jeff Gets Back, and let me tell you, this is an inspiring tone on the drive option. I have a block with the Blues Junior Sim, and that motivates me to get back into jazz. All I'm missing is a hollow body with flat wound strings. Listen, I think that's the thing too. I have on the ToneX, and now I have on the GP-50. I'll come up with a preset, and that will become my ride or die, and I'll go back to it and be like, oh my God, I forgot how great this was. Or I have a couple of jazz, like Kenny Burrell presets, and I'll be like, oh, this is great. Like, I got to play this. And so, that's what this stuff is for. It's to inspire you. It's almost kind of like, the rabbit hole of going down and trying to download all these presets or profiles or whatever's available. That's where you could piss away a day trying to dial in a tone, and that's what's not, that's where I don't want to be. I just want to get something and let the magic happen organically. I don't want to try to download 1,000 amps. I don't need to do that. I don't need to download this chorus versus that chorus. I don't care about that. I just want to play guitar. I
Well,
don't
that's
have
the thing too with what you were saying with the pedals and stuff. Like, Again, that the Axe effect seems really interesting to me. It always has. It seemed more interesting to me when I see Jimmy Herring using it as more of an effects for all the amps and stuff. You know, not really using the gain stuff. You know, you see the Tom Quayles and all those guys that have been using it for years. I've never even actually tried it. It's just I don't play live a lot at all, actually, in the last year or two, and so it's like I literally don't need anything that convenient. If I want to plug things in, I could plug it here, and I can have, in fact, I wanted to get one of those gig rig switchers because it does everything so nicely. But at the end of the day, I can just, I'm only using 2 or 3 pedals, a few gain pedals in front of an amp, and then the stuff in the back and the effects loop or whatever, and I could switch that in and out. But I have, when I had a buddy at Guitar Center, a manager guy that was getting me all this stuff at an almost cost. He was so amazing. I just started collecting things, and I have the H90, which I never had the H9, but I have the H90, and I love it, and it's cool. I just don't. You really have to dive into it. Same thing with the one I love, the Boss, the 3000, the SDE 3000, I got the Van Halen one with the special 3 outs, so you can go, wet, dry, wet. I still haven't even done that, even though that's the reason why I got it. So now I have these huge 2 delay things. The Timeline and Mobius has been part of my stuff forever with the Blue Sky, and so I do use those. But I have all these different delays. So when it comes to like your Andy Timmons Halo, I'm so intrigued by that because it sounds beautiful, and it's one of those always on kind of things for everybody that has it. And I'm just like, but do I need another one? I have enough delays. I have enough. Sure, it gets that one sound, but I'm not that guy that needs that one sound. So all these things, as like he's saying, Ryan's saying, with he's got these little paralysis with so many options or whatever, but he's got some tones that he really loves. As long as you have stuff that inspires you to play for hours. The best part is when you plug in your guitar and you're playing and you forget, you look at the time and go, holy shit, I've been doing this long.
I've been doing this.
That's when you're on, as opposed to plugging this in, then switching and plugging this in, and you're like, it's good, and then you're like, oh, okay, maybe an hour more, I'll do this. All of a sudden, when you get lost and hours go by, that's when you know, why do I need anything else right now?
Yeah. Why do you need more, and why do you need to do that? Yep. So Gigacrafty wrote Helix 4 cable method into a hot rod DeVille. There you go, Dave. Could literally do anything you want, stage volume for less than most rigs. So, Dave loves his Landau DeVille, that's for sure. He's never getting rid of that one.
Yep. Yeah, I had the original hot rod DeVille, the USA model, before they started making them, not there, and I'm selling that actually just because I have the Landau one. But it's one of the most solid amps I've ever had, and it takes pedals amazingly. Those DeVilles, that's why those were backline. Landau would use those as backline amps, and that's why he's like, man, make me one. And the one he has is just, both channels are the same exact channel.
I love
There's nothing different.
Yeah, and I have a hot rod,
and he uses that so that he can have the other second channel just slightly boosted. So now he just has a boost pedal basically. But it's amazing. They're amazing amps.
Yeah, everybody clowns on the DeVille and the Hot Rod Deluxe, and I love mine. I mean, when I was trying to, I was like, do I really need, at the time, did I want to buy a deluxe reverb for, and this was right. 15 years ago. I was like, do I want to spend an additional $500? And I was going back A-Bing them, and I'm just like, I actually thought that the deluxe took pedals better than the deluxe reverb. So that's why I ended up going with it at the time, because there was no modeling. And then Ryan goes, see, this is why I like you guys. Well, he clearly doesn't know Dave.
Thanks, buddy.
He doesn't know Dave because
no. You don't know how deep this goes. Hey, let's go on to some showing of some stuff. Let me show you some of the Matteo Mancuso stuff.
And don't forget, Dave, I also sent you over.
Yes, I have those pulled up
as well of the Veilton stuff, so we can kind of come back to that.
So let me try and hotkey this back to the first. Oh man, I set this up so well. We should be smooth walking. All right, and before we do that, let's talk about today is going to be the Hibiki. We're back on this. Oh my God, I finally got back to. I cleared out the bottle last couple weeks ago. And this stuff is, if anybody likes booze, it's Friday night, this is the goods. It's like $70 or so at Costco, $80. It's Japanese whiskey, and I'm just thirsty right now. That's why I literally am saying I'm not even gonna let you see my pour because it's gonna be extra big. I'm embarrassed. I'm not an alcoholic. You're an alcoholic. I love that.
And this
saying.
is
I forget who said that.
You had this a couple weeks ago, right? Is this a new
I
bottle?
did. Yeah. But I cleared out the bottle. I only had a drop left. So cheers, everybody.
Right.
Enjoy your weekend. Thank you for being here. Hopefully.
Let us know. Let us know what you're drinking. I am drinking Agua Fria because I just, I know I'm lame, but if you guys are drinking, let us know what you're drinking, and let's do a big toast.
This Hibiki Suntory whiskey, Japanese. They make other Japanese whiskeys that are more rice whiskey. This is not. This is more of a straight to traditional, but it is so smooth, caramel, vanilla. Anyway, let's get into the Matteo Mancuso thing. All right, I'm going to share my screen. Yeah. What guitar is he's using? I think he's using.
Use that one.
Oh
yet.
my! Oh no! This is the original Old Dog. This is the Sir.
Is that the Sir? Oh yeah. Okay, I didn't see the headstock.
This is the one I used in like 300 of the original
all right.
videos.
I didn't see the headstock.
So the interesting thing, this just needs so much work. The I need to get the frets work done, and the pot here is, if I actually turn it to 0, it actually has some hum coming through and noise, just a little bit. So it's so weird. So I have to almost put it just a hair above 0 to zero it out. So I got to clean a lot of things. But man, I was playing this through that Fender the other day, and it's just it's amazing. It's one of the best. This is that guitar that years and years ago, I think I told the story, Shane came into town. He was with Hall & Oates he was with the Neville brothers at the time, and we used to I'd meet him in Hollywood. He was staying in this cool hotel all the time. I'd meet him there. His wife is from Japan, and he'd always bring these things that it's like a 6-pack of sake. Like it's like, I've never seen this before. And on the bottom of the 6-pack, there's these pouches that you flick and pop, and it heats the sake up. So it heats the can up because I guess it's better when it's. Oh, it was so cool. Anyway, so we'd always go to like Hollywood, and we'd maybe go to the Baked Potato, but we'd stop at like the Mesa Boogie store and blah blah blah. And we stopped at the Boogie store, and they had this. They had just these guitars had just been rolling out because it has the silent system in it.
Okay.
And here in LA,
Classic S.
What's that? Yeah.
Is that a Classic S?
Yeah, with the V60 pickups, traditional, but they're noiseless. They're not noiseless pickups. It just has his little system in there, which it's really tied to the back plate. You used to be able to buy a back plate that does it. Now I know with the Henderson pickups, now they put a fake pickup in here so that, and it's not active or anything. It just offsets what's going on. So with the wiring or whatever. So noise out in LA is such a huge problem, especially with single coil pickups. Anyway, haven't used this guitar in a while. But the funny thing, when you did say what's the guitar, I see Mancuso's using these. He's using a Yamaha Pacifica, and funny enough, I do not like the way the tone of this guitar sounds, and I don't know if that's part of the he's using a Helix. No, he's using the what was the other one that that Ryan just mentioned? No, he was saying the Helix. What's the other big one that everybody uses?
There's a Kemper.
We're talking about it. Man, I'm getting old.
Axe-Fx?
Axe-Fx, yeah. So I think he's using the Axe-Fx board, right? Or the Stadium.
I don't know.
Is that? Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
no, I don't know.
Not a huge fan of the tone, and I think it's part of the guitar. And what I heard is, too, he did this. He switched the pickups at one time when he was talking about the guitar, and you heard the click, 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 click. Like, it was such a hollow sounding. Every Yamaha I've ever picked up, and I like some of their stuff. Like Shane used to be endorsed by Yamaha back in the day when he was teaching at AIM. And
he's got that cool green Yamaha. Yeah.
Yep, and I wanted to buy that so bad. That and the Hamers. He had the Hamer guitars.
Yes,
the Hamers are the green ones, but he had a Yamaha Pacifica that was so good.
That's what I was thinking of. That green one. Yeah.
But anyway, so
all right, sorry, we're digressing here.
Digressing in a big way. Sorry, everybody. Okay, so here is the first. There's about 4 or 5 things that I absolutely loved about what, and I think I wrote notes on this. Let me just see if, yeah. So this first 33, 37, 30. So this might be some chromatic lines I wanted to transcribe, and let me just play this. This is so good. Let me share the desktop audio. And here we go.
For example, steps, yeah. And then if I play like a single note line, so you can even.
So that was just some Stella stuff that he was doing that I just thought was fantastic. Was I even sharing my screen there?
I didn't see the screen change, no, but you did. I did hear everything.
Oh, okay. Let me do it one more time. And now I got the desktop audio, so there's echo. Now I just turned that off. So, all right, now I'm sharing the screen. No, I'm not. There's the screen. Okay, let me play this one more time. It's just so good, and the way he walks through that. Let me get back to the beginning. Is that okay? Here we go. Desktop audio is on, and we're gonna play. The screen is up.
For example, steps, yeah. And then if I play like a single note line, so you can.
I just love how he incorporates chromatic movement to walk into things, that sidestepping going, and he's following the changes, and it's musical, and it's not totally robotic, like I'm just following the changes. He's actually making statements, and I love the walking bass lines that he did. Anyway, that was the first one. It was very simple, but it stood out enough to me to where I was like, that's kind of cool. Okay, the second one is, I had notes, but I don't think my notes are properly dictated. Okay, let me go back to screen, desktop audio, and here we go.
How I construct some of the chromatic lines is very inspired from part, like this kind of stuff is very part inspired, let's say. I think this is a line that he plays on Have You Heard as well, like we're using the circle of fifths. Yeah, and these are some of the lines.
So there's about 3 or 4 lines in there that I'm just like, man, that's just so cool, so simple, but tasty. I don't know, just impressive to me. And right. Again, as watching this, I had to bookmark these things. I was like, my God, this is... But there's one in specific that I'm going to show, this little arpeggio lick that he does that's really cool. So here's the third one in this whole... It's like an hour and a half video, maybe hour and 40-minute video. All right, here's the next one.
Choice. So if I have to do... We're currently doing like Isla Feliz live, and... So I'm able to do this kind of stuff with a, let's say, a convincing, clean sound, you know?
But so it was more, that one was more of the just that the chords, the melody, now is that one of his tunes, or is that a standard? I don't know what that is.
I don't know that one.
I don't either, but it's beautiful, man. I'll do it one more time. Just that head, that little it's so awesome. It goes on the third one here. Yeah. And screen share. Audio. Too many buttons.
Choice. So if I have to do, we're currently doing like Isla Feliz live, and so I'm able to do.
So good. It reminds me of learning all those open string licks from Don Mock, the country open strings licks.
Yeah.
So good. I don't even know. Yeah, I have too much gain on my thing or whatever, but what's the other? There's something there. Oh, this one, right. The just all those little openy kind of strings are just so beautiful, and the way he does it with it ends with all the open strings ringing into one beautiful lush chord. Okay, so here is and I apologize if my guitar sounds good or bad. Like, so I'm trying to do this thing without headphones, and it's great here, but I do notice when I watch this back, we have a little bit of an echo, because even though this mic should not be picking anything up, I don't have it set up with enough of a gate or something, so it's picking a little and there's echo. So I've got my volume so low through the speakers, so I can barely hear this. So if you're not hearing my guitar, let me know. This is, okay, this is the fourth one. Screen share, desktop audio. At least I'm turning the desktop audio on and off, right?
Yeah.
And then, all right, this is the first one. So good. Okay, let me play that one more time. Such a good lick, man. So good. And it's just a simple arpeggio. He's playing, I believe he's playing over, I didn't analyze this, I just learned it real quick so I could have something to show today, but I think he's playing over a B flat major 7 chord, and I got mass gain on this, so sorry about that. But he's just playing this arpeggio, which would look like a G minor 7 arpeggio, or a G minor arpeggio. So he's going from 9 to 10 on the A string to 8 to 7 on the next 2 strings. Then he switches positions and he goes 8 on the D string, 7, 6 on the G and B string. So there's your B major. Right? So you have. Then he moves it down a half step and goes down 2 other strings. So he has 8, 7, 6, and he goes down to the next strings and goes 7, 6, 5. So you have this full, there's your B flat 7 with the 7 on top. And you have. Then he does this, which looks like just an F major arpeggio. Right? So he has. But then he comes down a half step up, which is F sharp or G flat, right? That gets that outside sound. So he goes. And make sure I don't have desktop audio on. Okay, here we go. So you have... And he's just walking down that major arpeggio, 3 note. Then he walks up this thing where it almost, so he comes down that G major, F sharp major arpeggio, which is from here on the 9th fret to the 8th fret. Then the next string, B string, is a 7, then 6 on the next string, 8, and you're on the 9th fret of the A string. So.
It's cool.
But then he goes to what is a C note, and it would almost look like, so you're on the 8th fret of the E string, and it almost looks like you're going up a C major arpeggio, but he's going to, I think of it more as an F, going from B to F, right, in the chord progression, and you're playing the 5th on top instead of the 3rd. So you're playing the C note of F, which is the 5th, and then you're skipping to the 3rd of F, which is the A note. So instead of playing an F major arpeggio from F, A, C, you're playing C, A, C, right? Then you go to this note, which would be, I mean, again, you can think of it either way, because if it's of F, that's the major 7. If it's C, it's the major 3rd, right? You could see these two if you put the bass note against that top note. So then he goes to this note, which is going to be either the root of F or it's going to be the 4th, and that's why I don't think it's C, because it's going to the 4th, which is usually an interval that, especially if you're playing over chord changes, you kind of avoid 4ths. They're not meaningless intervals, but they're whatever. So basically it's 8 on the low E string, skip the A string, you go to 7, 10 on the D string, then you go 9 on the G string, 6 on the B string, and then 8 on the E string. And then I'm not sure what he does. I think he goes up to this 10 and maybe back down to 10 on the B string. So the whole thing is... I'm sorry. Something like that. Now, when I first transcribed it, I thought he was going up just a diminished arpeggio. I thought he was going... So... Right? So it almost sounds diminished. It's got one note that goes outside it, but that's where, again, you can do a million different things on here, and a lot of the notes kind of fall in between where they could be one thing or another unless you change a really important note and you get that diminished sound or you get the dominant sound or whatever. But to me, I just thought that was such a great lick. And I'm trying to do, I have a pick in my hand in between my fingers. So I go from holding the pick like this to putting the pick here. And so I usually do it pretty quick, but when you're picking the way he does with all his fingers, that's where I'm slipping up a little, because I'm trying not to drop the pick, and these two fingers are so close, so when you're playing those two strings, you only have a little way. These fingers can do whatever you want. So I can do all of this. If I didn't have the pick, it'd be easier. Because I'd be getting all this, right? But with the pick in your hand, it just gets a little squirrelier because you got to keep these two fingers tightly together. Anyway, that's a long story, but let's hear what he did real quick on, because he does this lick again with gain on it, and that's what's so interesting. That's why this lick really stood out to me. So let me share my screen, put the desktop audio on. Yeah, I had it off. Let's play this. This is the one with less gain. And I didn't just love this lick because Rick went woo like a little girl. I was about to go woo before I even heard that. But it is woo worthy. And the interesting is I'm going to let this play because the next lick is a minute later. But all the stuff he does in between is just as cool. His little phrasing that he does. But then you'll hear he'll turn on the distortion and he'll do this lick again. He doesn't end the same way, but it's the same exact arpeggio. And it sounds amazing both ways. Screen share. No. That. Desktop audio. I got to say it while I do it. Otherwise, I will forget. So here we go. And we're going to listen to in between. You'll hear both licks. All right, so I apologize what I said before about his tone. His tone actually doesn't sound that bad. I think it's good. But, I almost forgot to put the desktop audio. But you hear how that lick sounded so good with grit on it? And I just think it's a really, really fun lick. It stood out enough for me to go, man, I gotta figure this out. And it's real simple, accessible. It's really just 2 arpeggios with the arpeggio half step above to get some of that outside note kind of thing. And it goes by so. And again, we've talked about it before. Anytime you want to go outside, you can literally slip and slide. Almost pretend like Shane always told me. He's like, you're playing something, and just pretend you're playing a lick, and somebody's moving the guitar like this. They're just moving it while you're playing. So keep the structure of that same lick, and just pretend like you're going down a half step, up a half step, go back and forth. And that's how you sidestep into, especially if you're doing an arpeggio that has so much structure in itself. Because it's so strong, root third and fifth.
Maintain the phrase, and then...
Yep, so it's not like you're just doing these randomly chromatic notes. You're actually doing a structure that's really solid. And if you go up a half step... Now, you don't want to sit on that too long, and you want to slide out of it properly, go into a target note or whatever. But that's kind of what he's doing here. So I got one last Matteo thing, I think. And it is basically... Okay, I think this is the last one. Let me go to screen share, desktop audio, and I don't even know what this is, but I know it's something that I was like, I got to transcribe this. Nope, that was that one. Let me go to, this is the last one. And I think this is more chordal stuff. So that's just cool. I mean, it's basically just really cool chord melody stuff where he's simple dominant chords all over the place with walking bass lines behind him. But then he's doing those little melody things that are following pretty strictly the chord progression. But it's a cool little study. It's not too far above anybody's head because he's just playing 2 5s and a few other things, and they're all dominant things, different chord voicings, but he's sliding those into those notes, right? He's getting melodies up there. Then he does the typical diminished thing where you go down in minor thirds, gets yourself into another dominant position. It's just, to me, it was after watching this whole thing, all those things stood out enough to where I was like, man, I gotta learn some of this, because I don't do enough of that walking bass line stuff. And I don't know about you, if you've ever gotten into, but I remember I loved it so much. There was my third quarter at Landon Studio Music, I was so into chord melody stuff and walking bass lines, and I didn't understand. I wanted to actually learn bass a little bit because I didn't understand how to make up, even though you're really just targeting notes and you're just doing in between notes and you're making these movements, but it's almost like playing really fast lines through phrases. I'm not good at that. I can't. My mind doesn't work that way. So when I'm doing a walking bass line, I'm thinking, okay, I target this. Okay, what notes in between? And it doesn't have to be perfect, but what? And I just start getting out there.
It's hard. I mean, that's
yeah.
I mean, it's just like effortless, and it's like, you know, I am at such a pedestrian level as that type of a player that it's almost like I can't even pretend to comprehend that in that way and in that capacity. So yeah, no, I'm literally just basically at basic chord melody stage at this point in my life.
All right, I am going to empty out that. No more Matteo. And we're going to go to, we talked about the ToneX, the Veilton. We talked about, so the interesting is, so here's real quick the thing I've settled on, and with the Amalgam guys, I've been doing this Soldano, or no, which amp was I using? The Bogner stuff. And that's what this preset is. And it sounded so good with my EVH stuff. And usually when you do these presets, for me, if you change guitars and pickups, especially if you go from a high output humbucker to a single coil, you're not going to get something really great. You're going to have to dial something a little back in. But man, I'm telling you, I plugged this in and I kind of like where it's going with this. I got to turn this up a little. It gets that little light touch thing. It just plays really well under the fingers. I don't know if it sounds that great with what you guys are hearing, but for me, I was very, very surprised that a high gain with these pickups were going to sound that.
Oh, dude, I love, you know, my Fender American Pro has like those Shaws, which are mostly higher, you know, at the higher end of the gain for a single coil. As opposed to more of a classically voiced Strat pickup. And I love that. I mean, but yeah, you have to kind of know where you are with single coils. And so I honestly, at this point in my life, like love single coils almost probably more than I do humbuckers. I just, it makes you earn what you get. It really, like, you know, there's no hiding. There's no hiding with single coils. It's just, you know, you'll be exposed with that. With humbuckers, you could definitely, you know, you can hide behind like with that. So I mean,
Well, and I veg out with these pickups way more too. Even with a higher gain thing, I'll notice I'm floating around single note things and not really thinking licky. Where when I play those Van Halen guitars that I absolutely love, I'm always playing a David Lee Roth, Van Halen, some kind of solo that I love playing. It's got so much energy and so much lick to it, and then really cool riffs and stuff. But I'm never just chilling and just feeling almost like Matteo was doing in that. It was a lot of the phrasing was very Robin Ford-esque. Like he was doing, he had the and that kind of phrasing is you're speaking, you're singing, you're getting a lot of that from the feedback of the note saturation or the blooming of the notes. It's huge.
That's really playing, man. I mean, like that's really playing guitar. We've had this discussion a billion times, but really, when you're on something, when you're on the rhythm, and you're hitting all those notes and it feels right and you just kind of like you're in the zone, that's really like why you spend all those hours just practicing just to be able to do that. And it's like, guys like Matteo are on just another level. I may not be a huge fan of his, but I mean, he's unbelievably talented, unbelievably good guitar player.
He's always exploring, and he has something to say. That's what's so fun about him. Like he's he's not just sitting in the pocket with a lick. He's not just there was somebody I was watching the other day that I was so man, and I don't want to rag, but I remember it was 100%. It was literally go, and there was no dynamics to it or whatever, and it wasn't just fast licks. It was just the tone of everything was just on 100, and great playing. But after a few minutes, I'm like, man, just work with it, listen and play instead of just playing everything that you have in your head that you're going. And
it's hard.
Yeah, it is. It's not. And again, even when I rag on this, I'm not saying it's easy to do, and to me, those are the favorite things to do, to explore like that. I mean, you literally get in that zone, and you're just finding notes. It's awesome.
I've been working on this whole week in between everything else. I've just been playing like I've been working on my improv again and going back into like trying to play triads and being intentful. And that's a word that guitar players don't really understand, the word intent, where you're playing something and you're really being intentional and you're creating a melody and you're thinking about it and you try to lose yourself in it, but you don't want to put out the same shitty, like the same shit that you always do. And so it's really, really hard though, because you want to kind of, I'm getting to the point now with my playing when I'm improvising that I am being very much quarter note, eighth note, dotted eighth note, 16th notes occasionally, and nothing beyond that ever.
Right.
And again, I'm trying to be vocal. I'm trying to be interesting. What I'm not playing is as important or more important than what I am playing. And I've noticed that when I do that, it makes my lines more interesting. It's funny to think that at the age of, mid-50s, after being told that since I was 15, 16 years old, but it clicks at a certain point in your life where you just go, holy shit, I finally get it. It's interesting to think that like I probably play better in my mid 50s than when I was actually out gigging and working for a living doing it. But
because you're being more musical than before. It was learning licks and every day you're like, oh my god, that I got to learn that. That's so cool. And the purpose of learning it is just because it sounded so cool. You want to be able to play it too. If you can play it, I want to play it.
Right. And we talked about this on the phone too, where it's just like, you learn something and then you forget it.
Right.
I am trying to really hold on to that, and not necessarily as a lick, but as a concept. And you've said this a million times. So it's very difficult to do that. But when you do, and it becomes part of your not just your vocabulary, but just part of like when you pick up a guitar and you go for something.
Yeah.
That's really at the core, when you pick up a guitar, like what do you do and what do you, but when you're improvising, I've realized that like anybody can learn anything and play it well. If you put two guys together and they go like, all right, you guys go for it right now, you watch two guys just fall right apart. And that's why at music school, it was a matter of just play the fast stuff, because at least you knew it was going to be rhythmically correct and note wise, it's going to be correct. It sucks as a melody, but that was another part of it, was like it just didn't have the confidence in my own ability to be able to put phrases together. And so that part of it is the journey where you just kind of take the knowledge, internalize it, and then move it on to it. So guys, subscribe, like all that stuff. Keep join in on the conversation.
Yep, I remember hanging out with you, and again, not just you, but back in the day. I remember we would jam, and we'd jam over the same backing rhythms. Cause it wasn't backing tracks; we played a rhythm, and the other person solos back and forth, and they were the simplest. We'd just sit down and start playing, and they were the simplest rhythms we played a million times, and we'd do the same kind of soloing. Maybe we'd throw in the new little idea that we came up, but we'd be forcing it in, like we're just shoving it in there violently. And if it didn't work, we stumbled and we repeated. Then we do a few other licks and we go back to that and we'd repeat that thing, and that I didn't get in or out of it. And it was just over and over, and literally week after week I was like, I know everything you're gonna play. There's nothing you're hardly. And same thing with me. I'm playing the same picking licks, whatever it was. And that's where it comes, that maturity thing, where I'm wondering if anybody watching the same thing is, if they are at a point in their life where they actually, like, one of the things I do is I'll always play, I love, especially when I get that Fender tone, I'll play that Little Wing but the Stevie Ray version. I love his version of Little Wing, and I play that, and I just love, it's just got so much feel and everything to it. And then what I hate doing, though, is after I go through the first pass of it all, I come back and I'm doing the mix of soloing and the rhythm part. So I'm getting that bass line, a little bit of the chord, and then I do a little soloing. Then I go to the next chord, and I work in and out of that the whole time. And the thing, I don't ever want to play the same. There are certain things I hear all the time, like, okay, this note and sliding into this, and then chromatically walking down to this is cool. But I constantly want to not play anything I've played before. And I stumble all the time, but at least I'm getting outside of the box. And I remember the first time I ever took a lesson with Alan Hines, I said, dude, I just don't want to, I want something different. And he's like, well, show me one of your licks. And I showed him some stupid little bluesy lick I was doing. And he's like, okay, well, now play it again. And I played it exactly the same. And then he said, well, play it a little different. I played it a little different, but I started and ended the same thing. He goes, why are you starting and ending all the time the same way? He's like, just do this. At the very end of the lick, end on this note. And it's not even playing differently out of it. It's just go to a different point when you end the lick. Because now you're in a different part of the guitar. Not only that, you're ending with a different note that wants to bring you to something else, as opposed to us playing these licks and starting and ending them the same and getting in and out of them the same. But it's a hard thing to do, because especially when you're learning licks, you're literally so focused on that lick that, it's a weird journey. This whole guitar thing's such a weird journey.
It's hard, man. And it's like, it's one of those things where, like, the more you know, the less you actually know. I keep putting more stuff in my brain, and I'm like, oh man, like I feel like, in weird ways I feel like I'm better, but then in other ways I feel like I'm worse. But I think that's part of the journey, is that, like, but there's so many great players, and then, like, I try not to measure myself against all the great players, because that just depresses me. And then I try not to measure myself against, I just try to kind of do my thing, because it's very easy to lose focus and just get away from it. And so
Well, it's
that's
like with those
why-
old Italian movies too, where you know they're burning the place out, right? They're running it down. The mob gets a hold of you. They get their hooks in, and it's like the front door. We're learning all this stuff, while in the back door, all the other shit is getting pushed out. So we're getting this stuff, but all that other stuff we're forgetting about. And then we got a few favorite things, but what gets held on to in the it's you know you only and I'm so envious of these people because again, the Matteos, I'm just bringing him up or whatever, but the Sean Lanes, the Andy Tims, all these guys and everything, they don't have a million more brain cells than we do that can retain this stuff. They've just really learned how to absorb and hold on to a lot of these things. And I think the way they do it is, again, they're listening. They're playing what's in their ear. They don't play these things the same every single time. So they'll know the general structure of a song. They'll know the melody. And they're just so well in tune with knowing, okay, this is the theory around what I can play. These are some of the cool licks that I'm going to squeeze in there. But the rest of it is I'm just going with whatever I feel. And I don't think a lot of us play that way. I think we're sitting here learning a lick, woodshedding that lick. And, I mean, I don't jam backing tracks a lot. I'm trying to do that more because I want to just play. I wanna forget it all. And the last time when I did that White Lion thing, a week or two later, I played on a few blues backing tracks because I just started getting the interface up, the ToneX stuff. And so I said, "Oh man, I'm in this DAW and I'm doing this. And let me throw on a backing track." And I started jamming for like 15 minutes, and none of it was licks. I had to actually think at one point, "Oh man, let me throw in a lick." Like it was just playing, and I think that took me 32 years to get to that point of wanting to just play and not really theoretically play.
Yeah. It's weird because now when I play a backing track, I literally I'll stay on one string and I will just kind of try to build phrases off of one or two strings. Right. I will not do scales. I'll work up and I'll just try to be intentional. So I try to get to a point when I'm improvising to where I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And I'll record myself. And then I listen back and I go, all right, cool. I have something there. And then like the rest of the time, I'm just like, oh God.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You know, so it never ends. It just never ends. And I am so in love with playing guitar. It should be weird. It's like a weird, you know what I mean? Like it's like so
the
weird.
Girlfriends and wives, and they don't understand if they're not, and especially if they're not really into the music thing. It's such a it's a weird, like, why do you want to sit there by yourself, playing all day?
Yeah, for what?
And then you go, oh my God, did you hear? Listen to how good this sounds. They're like, yeah, cool.
Well, that's what I at least have my Instagram page where 300 of my friends can check it out. But I don't do it for, I like my friends to hear it, but it's not like I'm trying to impress them. It's just like, cool, here's what I'm doing. What are you up to? And that's why I think also we talk about this, why we like doing this, because I play more now because of you, and I'm inspired more because of what you do. And so we've had this conversation on the phone this week where we were talking about that. So, I think that you just gotta kind of like, as long as you see light at the end of the tunnel, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to get there, but as long as you see the light, you're on the right path, man. And so like, I'm doing things now where I'm just like, holy shit, I wasn't doing that. Even when like I stopped playing, I wasn't doing things. And, or maybe I have a better idea of like when I would do something or I would steal it, like I literally just lift shit from Alan Hines.
Right.
And now it's more natural. It's become part of my own vocabulary.
Right.
So, and I understand what I'm doing a little bit more. And again, it just kind of comes down to, I'm having fun. This is what I love to do. I'm having fun on a Friday night talking guitar, and there's everybody that's out there that's watching this. They love playing guitar, and I just love the juice, man. I love the juice.
Well, speaking of inspiring, let's get my boy Steve to inspire us some with some jumping around the screens here. He sent in 2 videos. I'm not sure which one's which that I have pulled up, but we're going to play this, and Steve will...
That I can tell you
Okay.
And chord melodies and kind of where I'm at, this is around the top of my own ability. So while, we're watching Matteo, this is kind of like at the high end. I'm not a jazz player, but this is what I enjoy playing. And
Right.
so
Okay.
this is what I worked on for the last week.
All right, let's do this. Desktop audio is on. I don't know if it was on before. There might have been some echo there, but let's play this thing. Let's play this bad dog.
Thank you.
Dude, that's pretty. That's some. Let's see if I can get this to pause. Yeah, that's nice. I don't know how you get those meaty fingers to do all that. That is some good stuff.
I know. I'm very lucky that I have a very, very high quality jazz player friend in Nat Janoff, who is a buddy of both of us. And Nat's a William Patterson University player, and he's just a monster. He's like the guy I kind of go to, and I go like, Dad, I want to learn jazz. And like Nat's like, yeah, dude, you'll be all right, man. You can do it,
Right.
And so, Nat tells me all these cool stories and just inspires me. And that's like on a whole other level of being a real, he's a real jazz player. And so for me, I just took this as like, I want to be able to work on chord melodies and, kind of increase my vocabulary, because like I knew, that first chord being like a flat 6 chord, I was like, all right, cool. Like I've been playing that fingering forever, but I didn't know where I could go with that. So the whole thing also was an exercise in just kind of like different, different inversions of chords and different positions. Like, so, the third or fourth chord is a G minor 7. And so it was just a G minor 7 chord that I never use. So a lot of that really was just me trying to, use different chords, different melodies, and make something that you hear every day kind of sound, like just so that I could be able to do it, but then also try to get more of a better understanding of the whole way you kind of move chords and how that just kind of goes with one note and building out the phrase through the chord melody. So
Right.
That was a lot of fun. And it took me, I think, like I know I'm getting better at doing this stuff because, the Joe Pass, the first one that I did was Misty, took me literally 2 years to learn. This took me, and literally, I think I did maybe it's like 20 measures. It's not a lot.
Right.
But that took me like about a week to kind of figure it out and put it together. So I know I'm getting better at that. And that's the light at the end of the tunnel where I'm just like, all right, cool. I can do this. I kind of understand it conceptually. And then that was the Veilton, jazz tones are jazz tones. Yeah, but it was the Veilton. And I think what I did was there was I want to say, I think it was a Bad Cat. That's a Bad Cat.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So Alan used to play a ton of Bad Cats. He had 2. There was another amp that he played. Oh God. He was actually going to give me one, and I didn't connect. It was like a Dumble kind of amp.
Yeah, it's a bad cat sound.
God, I forget what it was, but that bad cat, those things are amazing.
Yeah, I what I did was so my favorite thing to do with any type of amp is, and we talked about this, is I always try to take any type of amp and put a pedal in front of it. I would much rather, I'd much rather have a clean amp where I could click on a pedal to get it and then turn it down versus having it just like screaming noise. So that's just the way that the way that I work is probably going to be 100% different than everybody else. But yeah, that's what I use for that. And then the
So did you have a pedal going in front of that?
No, that
was
one was just okay. Yeah. But I'm just saying in general, like I will try to take a higher gain amp, and I will always lower the gain down. And if I want to use gain, I'll try to get it from a pedal externally. Then unless we're talking like super crazy metal stuff, but that's just been, I've tended to get better tones that way.
I mean, that's what I used to do all the time with my Sir amp, my Badger 18. All the videos I recorded in the early days were the Sir going through the Bogner. Maybe it was a Fender. I don't know if I had any other heads I was using at the time, and it was just always pedals, a simple Wampler pedal or my Scott Henderson pedals, the Maxon pedals, just pushing it enough to get that dynamic, the feedback. But it just
brings it to life a little bit. I think,
and especially if you have it slightly broken up, it really takes that on top of it to really break it up nicely. And it's not breaking it up too much. It's just giving a little extra. It's tightening it up. A lot of the times tightening the bottom end or the weird frequencies. But the great thing about a slightly broken up amp is that you can really dial that back down to a clean. I mean, there's a lot of amps that you can dial back down, even if they're my Soldano. I mean, no matter how much gain I have it on, if I dial that back down, I'll get really close to a clean tone. Not perfect, but good enough to be in the realm of it's clean. So even with these pedals, like your Veilton, that's the one thing I have not done with this ToneX yet, is put a pedal in front of it. And it's just laziness, but I need to. I need to try and put these pedals, because everybody says, use these things. It's not an all-in-one box. You need to use it like it's an amp. It's the front end of your amp, and plug pedals into it.
I have a Timmy in front of my ToneX. Which is great because, for the most part, it's a transparent type of, so I put that on, usually on cleaner sounds. Again, that's where I live. I'm not.
Have you done that through the Veilton yet? Have you thrown a pedal in front of it yet?
I have not, but then the Veilton also has the pedal option built into it, so it has has onboard pedals in it.
Oh, interesting.
The ToneX obviously doesn't have.
Oh, I'd be interested to see if you turn one of the if you have like a Timmy and they have a Timmy in there.
Yeah, and they don't, unfortunately, but on the Veilton they don't.
Do you have any pedal that's similar to what they have in there, or
I know they have an exotic EP boost.
Okay.
So I have one of those. So I will report back and see what that does. Which is what I did on the second. So this is what I came up with last week, was talking about our friends at Amalgam. The Sir Bella I had downloaded and put it on, and basically ran that for the most part clean, put the EP booster, and then I took one of the one of the MXR yellow distortion boxes, and I used that for the gain on the Veilton, and I put a delay and a reverb, and that sound that I ended up with has been so inspiring. I did nothing all day, Saturday, Sunday. I even went ahead and I was just like so inspired. I started learning like what, you had done it last week on the video, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to learn this. So this video is me learning half of the solo of Vito Bratta from White Lion,
Right.
the little fighter solo,
Yep.
which the tone on that, at least in my room, was so awesome. Like I'll go back to that and I'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe it. This is my sound. I get to play with this all the time, you know.
That's
but
funny.
Yes.
All right, so let me gear this up. This is Steve's debut here on MTV Live. Remember when MTV was around and they used to do live?
Yeah.
Let me try and get. I got to get this to scale. Pause that thing. Video. It's such a big video. Half scale. And it is funny the way. So did you learn this by ear, tab? How'd you learn this?
Little bit of I saw a guy's tab, but I changed it around because I didn't really like the fingering, so I kind of changed it to what worked better for my stupid fingers.
Interesting, because we're going to talk about that. I got thoughts.
Yeah.
All right, so this is big bad Steve-O with those sausage fingers, but they're delicate. So what I do love is the storybook refrigerator that you have going on back there. It's like a photo album or something. You got a lot of notes, got a lot of Post-its.
Wait, what are you?
Your refrigerator.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That thing's full.
Yeah, I'm
of
like,
notes.
wait, where? That's all pictures and autographs. Believe it or not.
Autographs.
Yeah.
Really?
Like I have Gene Simmons, Richard
on your
Kotzen.
refrigerator.
Yeah, Adrian Smith.
That is amazing.
Yeah. You want to see one? I'll go grab one.
Yeah, yes, I do.
Hang on a second. I'll go grab one.
That is hilarious. Most people have their autographs in frames, or they have their autographs in, posted up on it. Most people have autographs like in albums and stuff. This guy's got them on his fridge. He's got them on his windshield of his car.
Can you?
That's funny.
Can you see this?
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Adrian Smith.
And Richie Kotzen, but Richie didn't want to sign anything. Oh, he did.
No,
okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Where was that from?
So, my wife worked with them on a project, so for their label, and so they signed some stuff, and this was the stuff that we get signed. So my wife is also in the music industry, and she will get really cool swag, and so a lot of this stuff sometimes she's like, hey, do you want me to get this signed, and I'm like, by who? And she's like, oh yeah, like Ace Frehley. I'm like, yes, please, or something like that. So yeah, my whole refrigerator is all
funny, dude.
Yeah. I do have, as I've shown in one of the many videos that we've done, I do have stuff in frames, but there's just so much of that stuff. But I'm just
busting balls, man. It's just funny.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to Steve's playing. Screen share. Let's do the desktop audio, and this is his debut, White Lion. He's gonna audition for the band.
Yeah, I'll be the new Vito.
Nice, dude. Very cool, dude. That's funny because so you walk up that one line differently than I do.
Okay.
And it's interesting. So I do it on and I think he does it that way where he uses more he tends to use, especially with those arpeggios, the high E B string more than he'll like if it's a 3-note arpeggio, it'll be the G, B, and E string instead of the DG, because those middle notes end up getting a little thicker in the
Yeah.
mix, and the pattern's different because again, we have that whole B string issue where it slides up a half step. But that's cool, man. That tone sounds great.
Oh, dude, the tone was I like the Vito thing.
It's like
just
cleaner than I would have a lot more gain on that.
Yeah. Well, again, that's how I Well, at this point in my life, like I like a cleaner gain sound. So yeah, most people that would probably play that would be like, I think your tone sucks, man. I could never play on this. But for me, that's like an awesome tone. Because the harder I hit it, you're gonna have more bang on the end of it. So and again, I am a lighter player. I don't hit as hard, but when I do play rhythm,
we got to get you plugged in because so you're recording that from an iPhone, right?
Yeah, that's all that is. I'm putting my phone.
So I think that tone,
like right here.
Yeah, I think that tone's even better because it's getting compressed with that, and then as we play it here and going on to this, we got to get you. So does the Veilton do? Can you plug in USB and record that way, or because the ToneX can be used as an interface? Can the Veilton do that as well?
Should be able to. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I got to see how I can do that, but yeah, we should be able to do something. I think at the end of the day, so the kind of wrap this whole big 2-hour party up, the Valeton GP-50.
How does it become 2 hours so quickly?
Oh, dude, I can't believe we're really just shy of 2 hours at this point.
I literally just looked up at like an hour and 15. I was going to end it. I was like, man, maybe we'll end this early. Now it's already
no. It's if you're on the fence about it, I would say you can't go wrong. Get it from Amazon. If you don't like it, send it back. But I'm telling you, man, it is so much fun. There's no reason why you shouldn't have it for $100. It's such a great practice tool. It's got a metronome on it. It's got the Bluetooth. You can set the so you're using it as a pedal. So if you want to have as a boost pedal, you could do that. It just does so much stuff that it's almost kind of like ridiculous having it as a looper. It's just one of those things where like it's a Swiss Army knife that really works. And I love the gear and definitely without sounding like a complete fanboy, it's definitely well worth $100. And then you got our friends at Amalgam making these awesome, amazing profiles with, the Sir Bella was like, I was like, holy crap, man, this thing sounds fantastic. So I am one happy camper. I am going to probably not play tonight because I was playing all day today, off and on in between work.
Twitter.
And I'm going to go to bed and I'm going to wake up tomorrow and I'm going to start playing again. I'm going to play that Shane Terrio thing and go over the Michael Jackson stuff. And that is my plans. I might actually go to Guitar Center. I saw that they got an AV51 Telly used here at the local store, which is in my price range. So I did play one of those American Vintages a couple of months back, and I really liked it. I just didn't have the coin at that point, so now I kind of do. So if it plays well, I might be buying a Telly tomorrow. So we'll see.
Nice, dude. Well, and the Shane Terrio thing, dude, the last thing he posted this week, the rhythm thing he did was so good. I forget what it was, but it was had me watch. Usually I don't watch the wholes of these videos. I just have so much I'm doing and so I'll pick them apart. And this one I literally sat through and watched the whole thing. As far as the Veilton thing, I was actually going to order one 2 days ago when we talked and you're like, this thing just for $100 you can't beat it. So they do have on they apparently I looked on their website and they did say they're out this week. They'll be back at the beginning of March, and that's when things will start shipping. But on Amazon, like I'm doing sales, I should get some money off of this. But they have for the $120, they have free delivery on March 7th through 12th, or faster delivery on March 7th or 10th. whatever. But you can also order it from them for $160. So you spend a little more and you get it Wednesday, March 4th, which doesn't make sense.
Right.
So you're literally getting a couple days. But yeah, I think I might order one tonight actually, and because I looked at Guitar Center and a few other places. I think one place had it used somewhere, but I mean, 2 weeks wait time on one of these things for $100. I think it's worth trying. I want to talk to the Amalgam guys, talk about how they do their NAMM profiles, and I know there's the free NAMM software or whatever that you can play all this stuff, but that means you have to be linked to the computer. The whole point of what I think is great about this, it's a portable thing. Does it have a headphone jack?
Yeah.
Do you know? It does?
Yes. Yeah, it does. It's got headphone, it's got MIDI in, MIDI through, and a USB.
So that's great. I mean, just to carry this stuff around and be able to plug in a hotel or whatever into something, that's great. If you don't want to turn on the laptop.
It's also, you can run it on batteries. So if you don't have a power pack with you, dude, it's
super impressive. For $100, what are you kidding me?
For $100, I mean, it's worth getting it. And again, if you haven't dipped your toe in the whole profiling, this is the great. Like again, I started my profiling adventure with ToneX, and I don't think I'm going to go high end. Like I don't think I'm going to go, like the Quad Cortex and all that $1,000. This is fine for what I need. I'm getting great tones and I'm inspired, and that's what works for me. So if you're like us, or like at least like me, then then hopefully this will help you, and hopefully you get something out of it.
Look at us being consumers again. I like it.
Yeah.
Really diving in, keeping the market strong.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Appreciate it. If you have any questions, squeeze it in right now. But otherwise, we're going to sign off. Have a relaxing weekend, hopefully. And me and Steve, I'm sure we'll talk Sunday and talk a little about, I think I'm going to try and get to, like I said, I haven't played a lot of guitar this week. I've been working on another project. But I think I'm going to dive into some of that Matteo stuff. There was something else that there's an Eric Gales thing I definitely want to get back to. So I'm going to try and do those two things, and I'll report back next week, and I'm sure I'll discover something new. And anybody else, you guys contact us on, go to the Facebook page, Guitar Breakdown, friend me, do whatever you want, and write in any of the comments, post anything, let us know what you want to hear, what you want to talk about. If there's anything specific you want transcribed that might interest us, maybe we'll look at it and we'll go, oh, we got to transcribe that. So you get a free transcription out of it.
And just want to thank everybody for watching. Ryan, thank you for all your comments. I want to thank GigaCrafty as well for joining in, and trust me when I tell you, believe me when I tell you, when you guys add with chats, it really helps us out. It just kind of inspires us to kind of stay on top. It keeps us motivated that we know you guys are engaged and enjoying.
Me and Steve can talk all day long, but when other people interject too, it's just fun. We get out of our own head. So
thanks for that, guys.
We will chat with you next week, and have an amazing week. Be safe, and learn some fun guitar stuff. And we're going to stop right on cue. That's why I'm getting my mouse ready, and usually we linger and we say, wait, how do I stop this? But guess what? Before